To America! Welcome to the Tong, where our loyalty lies only with warrior, and they will scrap only if I give them the order. And you feeling itchy, you got something to say? Just know we hop this way. Nobody else is suited for this other than us. I know it's crazy, but we work with it and don't give up. Welcome to the show. If you don't know the name, we call it Hop This Way.
Welcome back, all you itchy onions. It is time. It is time again. Our Tong is back. That's right, the Hopway Show. Season 3 review. Believe it or not, we are here. We are missing one. Miss Rebecca Nishi not feeling well today, so we are giving our thoughts out to her, hoping she heals up very quickly. But the Tong of 5 is a Tong of 4 today. And joining us, as they do every week, I got right beside me the crazy one himself, the young June to our Tong. That's right, Money Matt Chua. How you doing, Matt?
Hello. It's good to be officially back. Yeah,
we're officially back. We're officially back. We were back for one, but this is our official. We are back, yo.
The real episode 16 on our counter on the moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say yes because that's all I know. You know, when you need to know something, there's no better person to go to than our very own professor, the professor of our Tong, and that is none other than the man below me, Mr. Frank Zhang. How are you, sir? Hey.
Good to be back. This is good to be back. This is actually our first time going through a season together.
Yes.
Better way to start, right?
I like it.
It's been 3 years. 3 years is a long time to wait, and somehow they made every bit of it worth it.
Yeah, and wow, we're gonna get into it, but my God, it felt like we haven't missed a beat. And speaking of not missing a beat, the beats aren't complete without our beat queen herself. That's right, the beat downs or just dancing to the beats. The one, the only Miss Stephanie. Young Cat. What up?
Oh my goodness, I've been emotional all week. I've been emotional all week.
And then she watched the show.
You name it.
And then she watched the show. Right on. So I take it you approve. Let's start off with you then, Steph. What were your thoughts coming into this? First, having the show be back.
I mean, we've been waiting. We fought for this. We know that this has been an epic journey. But the amount of people who are excited for us, I mean, let alone, obviously the entire Warrior family, it's been amazing. It's been amazing. Every single post I've been geeking out over. Absolutely. And then when it started, forget it. I'm screaming at the TV. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think we all had a few scream out loud moments, and it's just good to have them back. Frank, any standout? I'm not going to ask standout yet for the episodes, but what were you looking forward to? Did you have any apprehensions coming into season 3?
When they were talking about the ordinances at the end of season 2, I thought, okay, this is going to have to go into the political arena. How are they going to do this and still keep the intensity of the show, the pace of the show? I just didn't know how they were going to keep up that kind of focus and that kind of like engagement when this is like a bunch of guys in suits sitting around a desk, right? But somehow they made it work. Somehow they made board meetings intense and intriguing.
Yeah.
So that was my apprehension. They've answered that so far in these first 3 episodes, and everyone's roles have changed.
Right.
Yes,
Everyone's
very
roles
true.
now.
Very true.
Relatively seamlessly, but also very, very quickly. Like within the first half of the first episode, it seemed like.
Yeah, and I've had a couple people reach out to me say that before these first 3 episodes drops, that said they were worried that already there were so many characters in this show that they were afraid that it might get watered down. And I think after these first 3 episodes, we got even more characters and it felt like the complete opposite. It didn't water down at all. Matt, what about you? Did you have any apprehensions coming into this season?
No, zero, not at all.
Keep those texts coming to a max.
Well, because you know what I mean. Like first and foremost, before any of this being a host and any of this nonsense, I'm a fan first and foremost. So when I already told kind of the story on how I originally got into the show and how we watched it and everything. So, for this long stretch of time where nothing was really happening. And that's when we were, biding our time by this show appearing and, making Warrior, kind of stretch out its life expectancy for this little space of time. And then to now actually have a real season happening in real time. And we're really doing this. I was just super excited. And then to realize, there's 3 episodes. What the fuck? And then to realize, I see why you did it, because it's one long ass episode broken into 3 different parts. That's essentially what happened in episodes 1 through 3, which we are going to deep dive into.
We're definitely going to deep dive into them, folks. If you are watching, if you happen to be watching this on our Hop This Way page on Facebook, or if you're watching along on my personal page, please do us the biggest of favors. Go off of those and go over to YouTube. Watch us over there. Give us a like and a subscribe and a share. Believe it or not, that really, really does help us out for getting us out to the population, if you will. And man. So Matt,
I have something to add.
Sure.
What's up?
It's just a little tidbit. Just when and I thought of it as you were all talking, thinking about timeline, right? I think notice how there's a gap. So they did give us a gap. They gave us a gap of the rebuild, and so notice how all of the references are, again, like rebuilding after after everything was torn down. So they did kind of lay it up because some things have happened in between.
Yeah. But
and now we're seeing.
We don't know how long it's been, though, right?
Right. No.
Because I kind of come off of the feeling that it's only been a couple months, maybe.
They said 2 months in one.
Oh, did they say 2 months? Okay.
Yeah. The ordinance is starting to take effect. Chinatown's been built. Assam's fame has grown. Mm-hmm. Young June's in developing his own reputation.
Not a good one.
And Leary's gotten more comfortable in the halls of power. He knows people now on that level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it wasn't, as we saw in the first episode, and let's just get into this first episode. In this first episode, Leary doesn't seem to be settling too well in with the politics, right? Because he's getting in there, but he's realizing that it's a lot of just sitting around and arguing and nothing getting accomplished.
Like why are we still talking about this? That's politics.
And they're like, welcome to politics.
Mm-hmm.
For someone who's worked on a couple city boards, accurate, very, very accurate, and it hasn't changed, sadly. I want to just get to the opening sequence here. I mean, they give us this what a great open. Like, we get a Psalm here. We've got the Long Z bringing their molasses into town, and Assam being
not just their town, their territory, the actual Hopway territory.
Yeah. But as Mai Ling says later, with all the property you've lost lately, it's hard to tell what territory is Hopway anymore, right? But I love how cool they're going for with Assam here and trying to make him look like the James Dean type as well as Bruce Lee, or am I the only one that picked up on that? And is he smoking more than he ever has in this series?
No, it's about the same.
Is it?
Yeah,
it's about
they all smoke.
It's always about the same.
But he was looking pretty. He's looking pretty cool. Do you think they're giving that concentrated effort, or is this just the evolution of Assam right now? And it's hard to turn off the hype machine that's around you 24/7.
I think this is just Koji just, doing what he's done within the 2 seasons that it's aired, and now in the 3rd season, it's crystal clear now, especially with all that Max production behind it. That motherfucker oozes charisma and swagger, and it's effortless, and that's what's cool about Koji portraying. Man, he has such a juggling act, because it almost seems like he's tasked with trying to make a character who is almost kind of like Bruce Lee. It's like he has to portray Bruce Lee portraying this character. So it's like, but don't be like what Lee would do if he was in this character. Make it you, but you gotta. Do you understand what I'm saying? And then he's just like, yes, I'll whatever you just said. I'm gonna do it. And he's been able to craft this as his own just embodiment, and it is beautiful. It is such a beautiful tightrope that he walks, and it's fucking gorgeous to watch.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And Mike Baker says one of the best first episode hooks on TV. I mean, yeah, this first episode, they didn't drop the ball. Like, it felt like it was a continuation right from the end of season 2. Mike also says, spoiler, but he also gets to show off his comedic timing this season. Yeah, there's a lot of smart ass comebacks from Assam in this one. We're used to that from Baby June and even from Assam, but not, I think, to the level that we're getting this year. Like, he's definitely going for it all. He's
snarkiness.
Yeah. And we saw that in the opening scene here where he's talking to these the Long Z, right? And just like, usually we do a little more negotiation first before we get right to the fighting. And then there was this.
Hey, how's it going? There's a door, right? Shut up and help me.
So good. So good. Frank, what stood out for you in this opening of this first episode? Did it get you right away?
Oh yeah. Well, my first thought was, oh man, the trailer didn't really lie to us.
Right.
The first scene of that trailer was the first part of that episode. So it was because at the very beginning, you see Assam sitting there in the middle of the road, by the noodle stand. You wonder, okay, is he by himself? Did Youngjun take him back in? And then, from the trailer that he is. Yeah. But is there any friction? And there's still that trio. Him and Youngjun and Hong are still that trio. And there's a hint that there's more trouble with the Long Z from the start, and we see more later in the episode why.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I love that. Like, so after that scene, obviously the Long Z comes out, and as well as a whole bunch of Hopway, because before Assam went after them, don't forget, he sent that little kid, right? He's like, you know who I am? Go tell Baby June, or go tell Young June it's time.
Yeah.
And then the kid runs off, and that's when it all comes back. But then we get a redo of what we've seen here in, what was this, season 1? We saw that there. And then
that was season 2. But yeah.
Season 2, yeah.
But then together
yeah.
Season 3, we get almost the same thing here, which is amazing. I love the callback. And again, I just can't get over how much it felt like it didn't miss a single beat. This first episode, and it gave you it answered all the questions that we had. What's going on with Bill and his wife? What's going on with Bill as the chief of police? Is that going to happen?
Poor Bill. Oh, poor Bill.
Oh,
is it poor Bill though? Like, we all.
Yes, it
Bill.
is. Are you kidding me?
But Bill does a lot of. He brought a lot of that on himself. Remember, Bill did a lot of shitty things. And this is what happens after you do shitty things.
But he's been trying. He's been trying to make amends and do all this. But my God, I mean, I know, we can't really forgive him. Like, we can't really forget what he did in season 1 and 2. But it's just these first 3 episodes. Of course, we got to go chronologically here. We can't be stepping ahead. But just episode 1, I'm just like, oh God, Bill, do you want a hug? Like, Jesus Christ.
Yes.
What has happened to you, man?
Well, we see.
However,
sorry, go ahead.
I want to add one thing. When we first see him, and he comes in and he helps break everything up. They've really upped the game on Bill's grooming. Like, he is more sharp. Like, he is groomed. Like, there was a different look to Bill. I'm like,
Going for that chief
oh,
position. He's trying to look the part, you know.
He's trying.
Dress for the job that he wants.
I got
Dress
Exactly.
for the job you want, not the one you have. That's why I always show up to work in my Batman outfit. It's a horrible joke.
Oh, jeez.
It's a horrible joke. Shut up, Matt. You do the same.
Resonates.
So let's get to it a bit. So of course, Bill and Mayor Buckley have their issues, but you know Bill thinks they have an understanding. Bill's like, I'm going to be the chief. That's why he's dressing like a sharp dressed man and all that. And then he talks with Buckley, and Buckley's like, yeah, about that. We got this guy, and he just looks like a douchebag. So we figured he's going to be the chief.
Okay, can I say right now, right out the gate?
Good.
No offense to the human being who plays him. I forget what his name is. I don't have it in front of my face, but fuck his character, man. I hated him. I hated him more. I think I hate him more than and we all love Langley here, but I think I hate this guy more than I hate Buckley.
Wait, do you hate him more than you hated the first mayor?
Yes.
Ooh, wow, that's some hate.
Yes, I hated this character so fucking much, man.
Douchebag for sure.
Yeah. I couldn't.
Yeah, I don't blame you. You are definitely not alone in that.
Where is it?
I'm trying to find him up here, or one of you guys can find what his name is there.
I'm looking currently. Give me
one
second.
But yeah, we've seen things with Bill and his wife, you know, and Emily. Oh my God, she's
Niels
doing great.
Clayson. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, Niels, but yes,
Niels Klassen, yes,
Claasen. I'm so sorry, Niels. Please don't whoop my ass, but yes, he is the newly appointed chief of San Francisco Police, and he plays a complete dick.
Right, he so does, and he's such. Oh my God, it's right off the bat too. He's bringing the big DE energy out, right, and just asserting his dominance and letting Bill know, like, this is my gig now. If you want, and I'm jumping ahead a little bit here, but he even says in the second episode, I can get you a job with the Pinkertons.
Like, I hate his character so much.
I hated him. Folks, if you have any questions at all for us, or if you have any theories on the show, let us know in the comments as well, and we'll be happy to put those out there as well. All right. So what else did we got going on in this first episode? Because I mean, there was everything. We got Leary dealing with politics, and then finding out the politics aren't going the way he wanted. We're starting to see we get to meet Assam's love interest for the first time, but we just see her briefly in this episode.
Yeah, we don't see it. We don't even know until the next.
Yeah. Well, we all had an idea because we saw the trailers. So we saw her and Assam later on in those trailers. But we see, though, young June is maybe starting to lose it a bit here and out there collecting. And even though there's no money to collect, you know, he's still giving this old man a beat down. Now, to be fair, the old man may have disrespected young June a bit, but by saying, you know, your dad would have understood. I mean, with young June, you're lucky he didn't get his throat sliced at that point.
I don't know. I think everybody was being a little disrespectful to June in that particular moment. You got Assam stepping in. You got the old man just being like, no, that's not your father. Father wouldn't do that.
Right.
June's just like, what? And of course, you got Hong just
Slap.
sitting there thinking like, I'm just happy to be here. What the fuck is happening? Jesus, like.
But Hong has been having to be the like calming factor. You know, you've seen a couple of looks that he's given when Young Jun is kind of going off and being his a little more irrational, and things are falling to Hong. Assam seems to be like a little bit more of the enforcer and like protecting territory, and Hong has to follow along. Father Jun, Baby Jun.
I need to harken back to the beginning and the entire Long Z versus Hop Way, and me and Frank were talking about this. How about how Taslim easily demolishes 2 out of the 3 of the Trinity there like nothing?
Yeah, he takes out Hong and Young Jun like they're nothing, and it isn't until Assam jumps over and steps in that he's like, okay, let's do this.
That man, and Frank was bringing up, you do it so much better than I. Go ahead. Just
what I say.
Just how his movements and just how like it's
he's a coiled panther the whole time, right? Like even he does that old man stroll with his hands behind his back, but he doesn't do it like an old man, right? You just feel like his expression's not going to change, but any second he could just explode on everyone around him, and what's going to happen is what he wants to happen. Like he's in command of that. Even though there were 2 sides of that game, it felt like he was in command of that moment, and I think that speaks to Taslim's ability, and props to Koji for keeping up with him in that way. I know this is not easy to keep up with that level, and Koji's come a long way himself from season 1. So that was something else that definitely snatched the attention right away. And you notice when the cops came in to break up the fight, and Assam and Lee Young break apart to disperse on their way, Assam runs off, but Lee Young just claps his hands behind his back and walks away again. I'm just gonna disappear behind this tea shop. You're never gonna know it was me.
Yeah, nothing makes him sweat, which I absolutely love about him. Brett told, I don't know if he told us on the show or told me at some point, but he said that Koji trains 6 hours a day.
Wow,
I can believe that. He's got a new level
on set.
Definitely, Frank. Yeah, definitely.
Plus his acting and stuff, right? So I mean, that's the dude. The dude is for real. There's a reason why he's becoming so big in Hollywood right now as well, I think. So all right. Where were we from there? We talked about Leary and the politics. We talked about Bill and his wife, and Emily. It was great to see Emily again.
No tolerance from Emily. She's just like, nope.
Exactly.
Oh, and can I get back? I do want to get back to one thing earlier when we just first started the show, and you were talking, Matt, about it's been like 2 years, 3 years without any shows at all.
Yeah.
And the only thing getting people through was us.
Are
you trying to say we deserve our flowers? Are you trying to get our flowers?
Yeah.
No, I said nothing of the sort. But if we're gonna go for that reach, I mean, I'm not gonna say.
I'm just saying. I heard that in there. Maybe I'm hearing what I want to hear.
I mean, I was just stating what our show was doing, just passing time at that moment. But I mean, if flowers would like to be dropped off, I will gladly send my address, and I would like them delivered, please.
Yeah, we definitely deserve our flowers. Just saying.
Just like that. I want them delivered just like that.
Well, hey, there you go. We got a toy in this episode as well. A toy and Assam were talking a bit, and she was talking about obviously going back to Davenport Estates. Is it called Davenport Estates? I don't know what you call it.
Well, it's a vineyard. No, I think it's her. I don't know if it's estates or vineyard. I don't know which one it is.
Yeah, but it was her ex-husband's.
It was her husband's.
It seems like
turning it into a vineyard, maybe.
It seems like a toy has been doing very well for at least in that span of time. Just
in this episode,
having a nice little happy ending, I guess, after season 2.
And I love that they play up that she's still injured, though.
Yes.
She's still sore. We'll get into it into the second and third episode where you see that even more. But I mean, no, from last season though, she took a sword to the shoulder blade and almost died. Right? It was Mai Ling that helped nurse her back to life. So, Derek says, interested to see if you guys think Mark Dacascos' character Kong Pak will take over Leung's advisor role to Mai Ling. If so, maybe some conflict between Kong Pak and Leung coming. I think that's a great question because we're going to get into it with a sec. I think we could just kind of, with it being all three, we can kind of just flow in and out of it all. But we do see Mai Ling go to Kong Pak multiple times and ask him for his advice on what he thinks about how she's running the Tong and what he thinks of other Tongs. And yeah, I mean,
also he's
young. She's not.
He's a little bit. Yeah, he's a little bit of a different generation. So, some of it I think is just deferring to him as an elder in that way, and an advisor is smart. I mean, obviously they've, he and Leung have actually, they've actually scrapped before. So the comment about I still feel it from the last time, you hit me, and so it seemed, I don't know. I mean, Derek, I don't know if I at least what I see from their interaction, there's more respect between the two of those. So I don't know if I would see him like really displacing Leung. Do you know what I mean? I think it would happen in a different way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't see that happening, but Mark has to elevate somehow. Something's going to happen.
Bring up this question again. Bring up Derek's thing, whatever it was.
Yeah, 1 second. Sorry, I've got something else up here. But his question was,
interested to see you guys.
Kong Pak will take over Leung's advisor role to Mai Ling. If so, maybe I kind of want to say maybe, only because
Derek says, I feel like Leung is losing a little bit of the ground with Mai Ling, though. Yeah, it does seem like even since last season, though, that they kind of started to split apart a little bit. And because I would say the other way, that Mai Ling is losing Leung, because we saw him start to question a lot of her decisions last season. And I think maybe, if anything, Mai Ling might know that, be aware of that, and maybe she's thinking 6 steps ahead, right? She's like, okay, well, if this guy's going to book, who's someone that I can get that could replace him and possibly take him out if need be? That's just my thinking.
I don't know. Leung, he's really played like a real let me step back here and just watch how everything unveils type of role, because I mean he's literally just reacted to things whenever they happen, and everyone around him though seems to be a little bit more like, you should be doing something. Like you have you have like what's Mark's character's name? I forgot already.
His name, Kong Pak.
Kong Pak.
Kong Pak.
Yeah, something.
When he was like, I thought you were taking over for the old man. And then he's like, yeah, Mai Ling's doing great. She's better than what I could have done with Longzi. And then you just see that, what do you mean? Like, I thought that was the agreement. And then you just see when they pour out that little toast for Longzi, he was a little like, oh, son of a bitch. And then you see in episode 2, we'll touch on that little thing that kind of highlights that point.
Yeah.
And then you got Mai Ling, who it seems like she's really trying to win, especially with her going with the ducks and into the pond, as Leon put it plenty of times. She's kind of saying like, this is good, right? And then
she's diversifying,
and he's just saying, I mean, they're not gonna accept us as one of theirs, but I mean, okay,
Here's
Well,
the thing with
okay.
that. Here's the thing with that dynamic between Mai Ling and Lee Young. This is where I did not expect the show to dive into, especially right away. Right.
Ooh, okay,
So
go ahead.
because people who belong to different ethnicities who are not European descended in origin, right? Not just with Chinese, not just with Asians. There's different social advantages, shall we say, or social maneuvers one can do if one does speak English fluently. Mai Ling is the only one in that group that does. Leon does not know any English. He's going purely off of body language when he sees the white women in there with her.
Mm-hmm.
So off of body language, and I'm sure the writers did this intentionally, he said, I don't like the way they look at you. Mai Ling tells the story of her upbringing, not her upbringing, her marriage, right? And how accurate are the details? How are the women reacting? What is she trying to maneuver or move around within?
Yeah, she's
Right,
manipulating. It definitely feels like she's manipulating them. I like to call it the My Society. She's a part of My Society now.
I don't know
I
if
mean-
she's
I mean-
manipulating though,
When she
honestly.
says-
I think she kind of
When she
enjoys
says be
it.
Smarter. When she says be smarter, the woman asked her what, and you could see her kind of than the men.
Yeah.
You know, so that wasn't. I don't think that was. I think that was her recognizing something. Like,
I
And
also
she
think
mentioned it. The ducks are greedy,
Mhm.
so she's going to take advantage of the situation.
Yeah, I think
says
she's.
I'll
all
just
this.
say that there's certain. Not gonna name names. There's certain authors who may or may not gotten a tremendous amount of success off of a rhyming situation.
Dr.
Right? There's
Seuss.
there's certain off of a similar situation where they get to tell the story of their background, right, to an audience that might not be where they come from.
Right.
And it might be popular. How much of it is completely accurate? How much of it is an embellishment? How much of it is fabricated?
She's
We're not
basically
even sure
she's
that
using
guy
the sensationalism. Like she's using the sensationalism of a story to like hook them in and using to her advantage the mystique. The oh my goodness, they have nothing better to do. They're society women. So this is what they need. This is juicy, but at the same time, they can feel offended. So it feeds so many things for these women, and then she can just hook them in. And she's using them to get into certain places in society.
See, I don't see any of that at all. I see this weird thing where she well, let me deep dive a little bit on some of that. So I do agree that she's like trying to, play it out and like try to, use it as an advantage to whatever they plan on doing. But you can tell these little cracks and slips where she actually enjoys all of what's happening. And it's like she gets lost in that bliss. So I'm curious to see where she ends up leaning as the season goes on. Is she really going to keep her stance in terms of, this is all for the betterment of the Tong, or is she going to end up losing herself into how, lavish this life truly is, and she falls victim to it?
That's the other part too. Her actions will resonate out, right? Because she's essentially the queen of Chinatown at this point.
Yes.
Mhm.
So,
and that's pretty much what Assam said.
Yeah, what she might represent. Yeah, that's true. He did say that. He used that word queen also. What she might do to them, to those women that she was entertaining, represents Chinatown, represents Chinese people, right? How much of those actions that she might do, how much of that is going to trickle down? How much of that is how much of the tremor is going to be felt in her community?
Yeah, and it was all at the end of this episode too. We see it here. It was Hong that introduces, or sorry, Chow, I should say, that introduces Mai Ling to the white ladies. Feels racist saying that, but
European descendant.
The European descendants. Thank you.
Southern Bells, West Coast Bells, Bay Area Bells.
Yeah, he introduces them, but he even gives them
euphemisms.
I like it.
He gives them a few words as well, though, right? Like Chow is great for that, like having all those backhanded compliments, if you will.
And then this is where his accent comes out because he's speaking English, but the that woman, I can't remember what she said, but he leans forward and said, yeah, they're bad people, they're bad white people, bad
Yeah.
Chinese people, bad white people too, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
that just shut her up.
But they're also good, right?
Anyone really think Mai Ling cares about her fellow Chinese the way a toy does? Not right now. It's not looking that way.
I agree.
No.
mean,
She still has a lot of influence. That's where I'm curious to see what will happen, intentionally or unintentionally from her.
I would argue that Nellie Davenport cares more about the Chinese people than
she is ride or die. She is ride or die with us.
Yeah.
Twice she risked her life to fight with her.
Linda says Mai Ling only cares about herself. Thank you for joining the show, Linda. Appreciate that. First time I've seen you comment, but
your
welcome.
logo and profile picture is cool as shit.
Yeah. Sorry if I'm chiming in too much. Just Jack
All
for the
good,
beanbag. Don't be
Derek,
sorry at all, Derek.
No, I'm just kidding.
Derek, you're the one the one solely keeping us going now. Linda says you're welcome. Thank you. Well, I hope you're enjoying the show. Now, the end of this episode. Oh, what did we see at the end of this episode? It's so hard when there's 3 episodes back to back. We went to Davenport.
Oh, I got it. So the end of episode 1, that's why I said we probably should keep it linear, actually. So the end of episode 1 was when, because number 1, oh wait, I guess we could do part of this. So the MVP, right, for episode 1, I'm calling it was Chow, because that man maneuvered his way all throughout episode 1 with the deals and the faulty guns, and that shit was hilarious as hell. Number 1.
No, that's not till the next episode, though. Oh no, that was at the end of this episode where where
the gun backfired in his face. He's like, "Well, you got what you paid for." Oops, He's like, "You want it all? You get $100. You want you get $200." But. And then you have in the bar in the brothel in episode 1, midway through, where young June is confronting Chow, and he's like, you sooner or later, and there's the tagline.
Yep.
You need to pick you're sooner or later you're gonna need to choose a side. Mm-hmm. And then of course Chow fires back a little father line. He's like, your father appreciated the fact that having an independent contractor in the streets, to hear and see what all that goes on. And then, June slightly threatens him, and then Chow kills his drink, gets up ever so slowly and says, Zing threatened me, and it didn't work so well for him, and it's not going to work for you either. And he proceeds to walk away and talk shit to Assam, and it's funny as hell. But yeah, so back to the end there and why he's the MVP. So he breaks into where he sold these faulty ass guns to this one crew and shit.
To get the money that he saw, because he saw money when he went there the first time.
He saw the money, right? And the Hopway come through and do Hopway things and kill everybody in cool fashion. And then, of course, you got young June saying, "Where's the fucking money, Chow? Like, what the hell?" And then Hong's just like, I'm just gonna go look somewhere. And then of course Assam doing the evil glance. It's like, you better be right. You better be right. And of course Chow finds the printer. Where they find,
what did he say? Like my father said,
oh yeah, my father told me,
if you can't make money,
the only way to make money is to make money. And they find the plates, and poof, the little pan up from the bottom up, and that is episode 1, where they find the money press.
Mm-hmm. And then that brings us to episode 2. which another just banger, as they say. Do they say? Do they still say that? Or is that
Well,
They
it
do
works
now,
for
dude.
this
You said the
situation.
because
Will for these 3 episodes. It's a
it's just
banger.
banger after banger after banger. All right, so episode 2. Start us off there, Money Matt.
So let's see. Episode 2 is where we see a little horse and carriage, and we get introduced to the Secret Service.
Yes, we do. Coming across some people, they're looking for those plates, those money plates used to make money. And there's 2 Secret Service men to start, and by the end of this, there's only one.
And the one is Nick Cordial. I am terrible with names. I don't know why I'm the one reading this shit. Nick Cordileone.
Corleone?
Yeah, there you go.
Corleone.
That's a proper pronunciation of it. Yes.
Oh, he's a godfather.
He plays the remaining and now going to be Secret Service agent
Mosley, right? Wasn't his name Mosley?
I love the opening line where they're talking to the stagecoach guys, and like stagecoach guys are like, "Who are you?" And they're like, "We're the Secret Service." They're like,
We never heard of you.
Yeah,
because we're
secret.
I
The name.
like Mosley.
Secret Service, though, honestly.
Immediately the most politically powerful character on the show.
Mhm.
Oh, death.
Oh, and he put that
You're
new
literally
chief
fucked now.
in check.
Oh, he put his dick on the table. He's like, "All right, like this is what we're doing right now, and I don't give a shit. I don't
And this
need
is
your
what we're
approval."
doing.
I guess this is a meeting that we're gonna have. So
Yeah. I love he comes in all nice and polite to the chief, and he's like, "Hi, I'm here with the Secret Service." He's like, "Yeah, I know who you are." He's like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna need a place downstairs for an office, and I'm gonna need the holding area, blah blah blah." But he's like, "We don't have time for you." He's like, "You know what? I was just like you said, it's gonna be that kind of conversation. Okay, fine then. I don't need your permission because I work for the president. You work for the governor. Shut the fuck up. Move on over. I'm already got the office. I already got the space downstairs. I was just being polite and pretending to ask you." And I'm like, oh my God, I think I love this dude.
Yes. And now let's go over to, well, I know I'm jumping ahead. Nope. Because when there are some facial expressions that I've caught of his, he's doing a great job. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, his acting
Because you,
on point.
you can tell like he doesn't miss a beat, and he is ready to go after people, but he's slick.
I'm very fearful of that man and the character because it already spells out doom for half the cast. So
Well, we even saw when he first he kills one of the stagecoach guys, shoots the other one, shoots his fingers off, basically.
oh, they love getting rid of fingers,
right? And then drags him along with him and interrogates him even more by digging his hand. Yeah, I mean, dude is mean. He's just mean. But we also see his nice side later on in this episode when it comes with Officer Lee. Was that this episode 2, right? Yes, because it was the end of episode 2.
Definitions of nice. I don't
Well,
know.
at the end of come on though. He's like, I could take you in right now, bring you back to Georgia, or I could create a good life for you afterwards. He seems to be very, for someone who's not Southern, he's got that Southern. Even if I'm going to be mean, I'm going to be cordial about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of dig that about this character because it adds not gravitas, but it adds a little bit more to his sinisterness. As if someone could be it's Hannibal Lecter. Hannibal Lecter is going to offer you.
There's a charisma.
Something nice, Hey, can I offer you some Chianti before I chew your nose off? And that's what I feel with this guy. So
I don't know. His character has me on edge. Honestly, watching or knowing that he lurks around throughout this season. I don't know. There's something about it I just don't like, especially with what's happening now since the Hopway have this printing press and trying to make money. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Assume that I know a little bit less than God, but more than you think.
That was the coldest
That was
fucking
What a great
line.
He
line.
was sitting
Yeah.
when he said that.
Yeah.
That was the coldest line I've ever heard.
And he was right. Didn't he say it twice to him too, right? Like when Lee was trying to lie about whatever, and he's just like,
Oh yeah, he just said, just
told you.
assume I know more than you think.
and less than God.
Yeah, see, leading up to that, he's talking to Lee, right? But what came before that, right? So, Mosley is actually talking to that chief. He needs, access to the personnel, gets shut down. Next time he goes in to talk to him, the chief is like, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Did he say like,
though.
yes, sir?
He was like, oh God, yes, you're fine.
But then it leads down the line for him to look out, find Lee. And we find out what Lee is, he's been up to. Still
Derek-
having to take the laudanum.
Derek says
was it?
Matt's right. I fear for my new girl, Yan Mi.
Yo, big shout outs to Chelsea.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
Love her.
low key, she may be the most powerful actor on set every time she's in a scene. Because she
slapped her brother upside the head.
I don't give a fuck attitude down to a fucking like T. She is amazing.
Yeah, she
Mhm.
and in that scene where, well, let's go back a little bit.
Well, yeah. So we're back at they've got the plates. Now they need a way to print it because this opens up. The second scene we see in this episode is them trying to figure out how to print it, and they
that was
get
great.
it right. And they're
These
like,
four
nobody outside.
are fun. These four together are fun.
Yeah, man, for sure. And it's good. They can't get it working though, and so they go. Assam gets the idea. He's like, listen, I'll take care of it, and he goes to see the printers. Where they did the shakedown earlier, where we saw his love interest, and they asked,
she waxed her brother.
right?
Loved it.
And they're like, no,
Say
we
that to me
don't.
again.
We don't want to help. We're not helping gangsters. And the son wanted to. He's like, hey, we can get out of debt. And the dad's like, yeah, but that's not the way we want to do it.
Also, clever, nice little reference by the writers when the dad said, I ran across the South to get away from gangsters. There's a lot of Chinese settlements along the deep South from the 19th century. People running laundromats, smaller Chinatowns in Mississippi. So that was a nice little. I don't know if they'll go back to that, but that was cool that they just mentioned that they had that. Oh yeah, these guys are here too.
See, that's why we need to do a group watch along, just so Frank can tell us, hey, you just missed this, idiot.
One thing about the whole printing family, notice how this is actually one of the scenes where we really are actually in a family life. So you don't know what happened to the mother, right? But you're seeing family dynamics. You're seeing the father from the old guard. You have the son. He refers to his son. So when Assam and the guys visit, he didn't refer to his daughter. He said something to his son. But notice how she's ready to whack someone. And then she goes back about her business. So don't mess with her. But it shows the family dynamics there. There's no wallflower over here with Chelsea. Nope.
And then Chelsea does come back and again browbeats Assam. Literally, she browbeats Superman. Is what she's doing. And she's just like, listen, I can do this for you. Are you not the person I'm supposed to be talking? Who should I be talking?
Yes.
And even Assam's like, okay.
I guess I should be the one you're talking to. Oh shoot, there's no one else. Okay.
Oh, so good. So then they make a deal and decide that she's gonna make the money. She's gonna make that money, and she makes
not before almost just tearing them apart on how shitty their job was.
Oh,
yep.
Right.
Before
She's like boom, 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 and then Young Jun's like, okay.
He's like, what is
get
your
her whatever she
lifestyle?
wants.
What the fuck are we doing wrong? And then just proceeds to say everything that they were doing wrong, and then. Well, then of course Young Jun said, "Oh my God, just get her what she wants. Fine, she knows what she's doing. Whatever."
She definitely studies the martial arts of I don't give a fuck you.
This is also the first time. This is also the first time there's been character development from the non-Tong members in Chinatown. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, mine is
these-
Chow. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, Chow.
Happy Jack's getting some this season at
No,
least.
but I mean like the Chinese characters.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Because these Chinatowns, I mean, they did that ordinance raid, right? And you see him going through these crowded, narrow corridors, and it was that way because these people were very geographically restricted when they came to the U.S. in the 1850s to the 1870s, right? They couldn't just live anywhere. There was a lot of places that they couldn't buy land, so they were essentially squeezed into this very, very small area.
By
That's
the
why
way,
they learned to live that way. So it's interesting to see that kind of shown. I don't know if they'll talk about why it became that way, but yeah,
and
they were
that
like that, and they were
scene
like that for a reason.
That scene was brutal to watch when the San Francisco PD raided all of them. The new chief saying, "Oh, just beat the shit out of everybody," and then, oh my god, once again, Bill just saying,
Yes.
like,
what are we doing?
No.
Yeah.
And then he's just got
And then this douchebag is like, hit him again. He pulls a Hans Gruber from Die Hard. I'll take that under advisement, Mr. McClane. Hit it again. Thank you. For those of you that have watched Die Hard as many times as I have, you know what I'm talking about.
Not that many.
You've never watched Die Hard, Frank? Oh, dude.
Is it a Christmas movie?
It is a Christmas movie.
It is a Christmas movie. There's Christmas songs throughout the entire time.
So
They
that
have
kind of
Christmas rapper, the Christmas parties throughout. It takes place during a Christmas party. Just saying, and not to get off topic here, but it's a Christmas movie.
It is that type of meeting,
and it is this type of meeting.
Anyways, let's get back on track.
I'm fine. It's a Christmas movie. The money was fake. But they did a great job. You see Han there. And yeah. Was this we got to see a lot of cool things in episode 2. But the one thing that made us all do this was when we all saw
Oh yeah. I laughed.
when we saw Brett.
Okay.
And Brett fucking Chan.
My exact reaction, right?
Was
Because
this?
no, it was not that. I had no cigarette or beer or did that. I didn't do any of that. I was sitting in my chair, right? And Dre's across, like on this other side. I was watching, and then all of a sudden he pops up on my screen. And I said, "This fucking guy would." And I'm cracking up. I'm like, "Oh, Brett, I love it." And
I talked to him afterwards. I sent him a message and like, "Yeah, good job." And he's like, "I look like a fucking clown or something along those lines."
I was crying. I couldn't believe it,
dude. No, we're honestly, I was super proud to see him on there, and we know that he gets to direct episode 6 this season as well. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm thinking,
that's gonna be the loner episode.
Oh,
yeah, the loner episode is the one I'm assuming it's going to be, and those are always the most fun. Every year, those are
Justin Nguyen did it last season.
Yeah,
during the fight episode. So yeah,
Mexico. Can't wait. But Brett, though, although he started off pretty strong there, and they're trying to get him to join the Long Z, it just didn't seem to be in the works for him.
And then Kong Pak.
So Kong Pak's like, hey, listen, he stopped him, and he's like, listen, you can join us. There's no need for any of this. And Brett,
you may have your balls in the box, but you'll never have mine. I understand.
Oof.
Give that man an Emmy. Give that man his Emmy.
That look to Taslim. What are your thoughts?
Yes.
On what did that look mean? What did he say without saying it? No. Fast forward that a little bit. After he stabbed that, I'm sorry, Brett, but man, you had to go. Boop, gone. That look
right there that the castle give.
Yeah, right to Taslim. See, and he's looking. What do you think that meant?
You should be the
I
one
think
doing this.
Yeah, I think you're right, Frank. I think that was a look saying you should be the one doing this. Yet because think about it too. Earlier in that scene, when Taslim's talking to Brett and saying, "Join us," it's Mark that notices someone in the shadows coming out.
That's what I'm saying.
He saves Joe from getting an arrow in the head. So I don't know. Maybe
I think it's also a look.
You're off your game.
I think it's also a look of him saying, "I'll do what needs to be done."
No, I think that low key was a nice shot of saying, "This is going to be you, buddy."
Could be, and that's the best thing about this right now is because we don't know.
We don't know,
Like
right?
I can't like. So I've been posting a lot about season 3, starting like we all have, and a bunch of my friends have started watching it, and one of my good friends just started watching it last night, the first season. And he mentioned me today. He's like, "I'm 5 episodes in. Why haven't I started watching this before?" And I'm like, "One of us, because it's." Can you imagine being that? Like, just how great it was the first time watching this show. Like, in that shock and awe, we didn't know who these characters were. We were still learning who they all were. Come, midway through the second season, and to be able to go through that ride again, I'm like, honestly a little envious of them.
I got text messages from 2 classmates from high school, Tomas and Kwok, and one from grade school, one from high school. One said, "I am so proud." The other one is geeking out. I mean, this was wonderful. I'm like, "Yes, guys," and they're feeding right into me because they know. I'm like, "I'm so glad you're watching. I'm so proud."
It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Now we saw a couple love interests show up in this episode. We got to see Assam with his new love interest.
Mm-hmm.
We got to see a little sneak peek.
Good old
Teddy and Hong. They just crossed eyes though. That was it. And then Young Jun's like, "Let's get out of here."
I mean, Telly. Sorry, Telly. Not Teddy. Telly.
And then our boy Langley, Buckley.
Oh yes,
he's got a little woman showing some love his way. She even left her number. Equivalent of a number the first time. So
Catherine Archer is who she is, played by Dominique.
What are we thinking her end game is? Because is what she doing altruistic for Buckley? Is she really looking out for Buckley's best interest, or is there something else going on there? Because it feels to me like she's trying to set something up.
Buttercup wanted to be involved.
Hey, Buttercup.
Hello, pup.
This is also during a time where women had very little official
run, Buckley, run.
Power.
Yeah.
So what strings is she pulling unofficially? Is she married? If she is, who's her husband? Right? If she's not married, why is she not married? Right? What else is she trying to do? Because tradition back then, a woman her age would have been married with kids and all that good stuff. Right? So this is the 1870s. So what is she doing? What connections does she really have? That's a lot of the new characters. Like, what connections do they really have? And he can't run. He went from being the top villain.
Oh, that's cold.
Oh, I just got it. Well, he could
because Buckley can't run.
He could. Never mind.
He could hop along.
Yeah. But like
hop along
this way, actually.
Hop this way, yes. He can hop this way.
But he went from the big bad to, I don't even know. You're not even top 5 villain anymore.
But it almost makes me more afraid now because he got that little bit of power he didn't want because he never wanted to be the mayor. That was thrust upon him. But now he wants it. And now if he loses it, I think he loses it, And everyone's going to seem like a redheaded nurse to him afterwards.
He was in the military. Who
exactly.
knows what he has from that, you know?
Yeah, so he's already got that kind of trauma.
Yeah, I don't know yet.
Hi, Buttercup.
Buckley, oh man, I don't know what Buckley. I can't get a read on him yet. I really can't. Just like Catherine there, I can't get a read on her. To me personally, from first impressions, I didn't really see anything besides her just saying, I want that other fucker that's running just not to be here. Yeah. And I think she's just helping out Langley just for the sake of helping him. I think at least that's what I've gathered on episode 2 and 3. Now, am I going to get proven wrong? Probably, but I mean, I just right now, I don't see any real threat at the moment.
I think she's an opportunist. She's trying to wiggle in there. You know, she kind of sees that, you know, he doesn't necessarily have personable people around him, and she's needling in there. She's like, okay, this is an opportunity for me. And it could actually open other things for her, but she knows that he needs some other guidance. You know, he's been running the show, but there are also some social portions that we see a little later that he doesn't handle well. So he actually does need someone like her.
Well, now speaking of
anxiety, yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a little. I felt a little bad for him too, and the way that they illustrated that scene, it was.
And just every person that touched him, and it was like he was getting shot almost every time.
I felt really, really, really bad.
And it feels like Catherine's going to be there to center him for things like that. You know, when he has these social anxieties. And it seems to be, you know, where they're building on a lot of these couples in this season. We see it later this episode with Lee and his girlfriend in the bar, Happy, and we find out that's Happy Jack's brother's. It's his sister-in-law because it was his brother's wife, right? That Lee is with now.
Oh, right. I forgot about that connection.
Another ride or die.
But see, now let's add something. Let's go back to Buckley, right? Notice how, you know, when he was discussing finances with his, you know, his assistant, you know, or whoever the guy is, like more of a campaign manager or whatever. Notice how he mentions Penny.
Oh yeah,
about her being locked up, like the money stream. Basically, he's saying he's spending, you know, the former mayor's money. He's like, I'm sure that he would want his legacy, his political legacy, to continue, and she's not going anywhere.
I think Buckley sooner or later is just going to have to stop running on the old mayor's shit, and I just want to see him just turn and be like, yeah, actually, you know what? This is what I want, and I'm tired of this bullshit. And then he just kind of goes off and does his own thing. And I you know what? As I'm listening to everybody speak, I'm thinking like, I think that's what Catherine is eventually going to do for him. Like finally say, you know, you don't need to do this and try to be the old mayor and all that. No, you need to be you. That's how you're going to win. And then that's where I'm curious to see what that's going to look like from, you know, Buckley and what he's really going to stand on.
What about Leary? We see
So
Leary getting in with all the different politics, and he has a great scene where he manages to get a bunch of Irish to work at that factory, but then they fuck up and they start beating up some Chinese. And the owner of the factory is like, "Listen, I did what you said, but now I'm out all these hours of work because you got these two Donahue boys that are beating up my workers." And Leary goes out and fires the two Donahues. As he should.
And
there's someone else who can take your place.
Exactly, because there's all these other workers that are looking for work, you know. Are they trying to make Leary sympathetic? I know I've said it in the seasons before on the show. I don't look at Leary as a villain on the show. I look at Leary as the hero of the Irish.
Right.
I'm not saying that he doesn't do awful things, but everybody on the show does awful things in the name of their people or their Tong. And I think Leary does everything he does. He doesn't do anything for himself. Everything he does is for the Irish people.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
And notice how we don't immediately in these 3 episodes have a love interest for him. He had his.
Right. And we see that though later on in this episode, because after he fires the 2 Donahue brothers, he's like, anybody else, because they said we're not the only ones that feel that way. And he says, anyone who feels a certain way, come meet me at the Banshee later. You know where I am. And then the boys show up and he beats the shit out of them both.
Oh, he goes
But
in.
But did you notice? Sorry, Steph. Remember when Assam and Leary fought?
Mhm.
And he punched Leary. Assam punched Leary in the chest.
yes,
We all
he's still
thought Leary
feeling
was
it.
gonna die. Yeah, because we saw that in this fight too. He took another chest shot, and I'm like, ooh.
And then you saw
This
him
is gonna show
falter.
up later. This
Yep,
is gonna
when
be
he-
something that kills him probably later on.
The armor's showing cracks.
Yeah, when
And,
he walks away from them, he has a
Grabs
whole
his
look on
chest.
his face. Yep.
And he grabs it just a little. It's subtle and it's almost off camera, but you can see it ever so. Like if you look like towards there, he has his hand on his chest. But then it's cool how they covered it up as almost like a rage moment when he almost thought back to that fight and he lost and he just fucking went ape shit on those
Get down,
2
get down.
brothers. So, and that's why actually with everything that happened. I know we're not finished with episode 2 recap, but that's I thought in MVP for episode 2 was Leary. Actually, I think he caught it for this one.
It's kind of funny. He actually he ended up defending the group he claims to hate so much. De facto,
Yes,
right?
yes.
And also,
he almost gave them a nod. Did you notice
He
that
gave
after?
them- yeah, they showed one of the Chinese workers too. I wonder if they were trying to communicate non-verbally with his look as well. And it shows, it shows in the show that the animosity that the Irish feel towards the Chinese is about race, right? It's not just about the labor issue, because now they have the jobs, but they're like, no, we don't want to see them. Not just they're taking our jobs. We don't want to see them when we go to work.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Let
that was
alone work alongside them.
that was
Forget it.
another layer. And Leary, who you would have thought maybe would have agreed with that in previous seasons, he's not agreeing with that. So,
And
Because he's
what's
been working
causing
so
you to
hard to
change
get them work.
Yeah.
He's
Mhm.
been busting his ass to get them work, and then look at how they respond.
well, before that fight pit scene, he really goes into it with Bill because poor Bill, they're by sharing a drink, he says, I do all this and they're all just fucking ungrateful. And then Bill says, yeah, well, if we stop what we're doing, the world's gonna, fall apart. And then Leary comes back real quick. World's already falling apart.
Yeah, it's I like their dynamic there as it's starting to grow over the seasons as well. It went from Leary was here and Bill was here, and it's starting to feel like Leary's starting to look at Bill as
Contemporary.
equal, but yes, a contemporary, like someone he could share a beer with and actually share an actual intellectual conversation with and talk about, okay, this is what's happening in life, and can you fucking believe it?
Because now Leary's having to be less of a thug. He can't. He has to actually be the person who steps up and gets some of this shit done.
But that's what the politicians try to do with him in this one, and he does do that. He gets the steel contract lowered by going to speak to the people that run the steel, and he comes back with the bloody knuckles, and
he spoke to them.
He spoke to them with sign language.
He communicated something.
Yes, he communicated with sign language.
Negotiated.
Great negotiations. I mean, very. He even says it though at one point. He's like, "What do you guys think? I'm like your dog or whatever it is to go around and rough people up?" And get things the way you want it. And he kind of was until the end there. But you mentioned it, Steph. He doesn't have a girlfriend anymore. But before he went out with a fight, you saw he took that ring off.
Yeah.
And that was that his wife's ring, his dead wife? That couldn't have been.
That was on his right hand, though.
Yeah, but
it was that didn't look like a winner.
She died, right?
Yeah,
Like,
she died. She and her
kids.
and his kids. Yeah.
With the pox, and he went into that at one point too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he talks about that in the third episode, right? Is that where
he goes more into it in episode 3? Yes.
Yeah, that's where this happens, where they're talking there.
Another titan of a villain coming in.
Oh my God!
Such a great bit. Was that all episode 3 where he meets him though, where Leary goes after him and he's like,
maybe
if you were told better, you'd know that I don't travel alone.
No, well, we got a little bit of his character in episode 2 where he met with Davenport and
trying to court her before.
Yeah,
trying to buy her property. Yeah,
because of the railroad.
Because he was friends with her husband, and then she goes on to tell Atoy that they weren't really friends; they were just more business partners. That he didn't really have friends. Yeah, I mean, he is Machiavellian, if you will.
And a former soldier.
So. Yeah, because he knew how to manipulate Leary. So, sorry, who did you say was your MVP for this episode, Matt?
Oh, it was Leary all day. All day. The way that he carried the episode, it initially started out with, how he fought for the contracts. Then, you have him where he's he goes on to site. He's talking to the brothers and saying, well, guess what? Like, if you don't want these fucking jobs, then get out. I can find people who actually want this, And then again, where we talk about where, indirectly he's kind of, supporting the Asians that, that he's kind of had a nice little, like a fight for.
Yeah.
And then you see him take out the problem, in the fight pit. And there was a lot of standout moments that it focused heavy on Leary in this episode, that it was kind of really inescapable to ignore that he was MVP for episode 2.
I will give not a counter, but just a suggestion of maybe a runner up, and that would be the Secret Service dude. Just because the way he worked Lee. Don't forget, this part of this episode opens up with Lee in the bar. It wasn't even Lee; it was people looking for Lee at the bar, and Lee's girlfriend putting a hole through one of the dudes, right? And I don't know. I feel like the Secret Service dude was the guy that was, talked him into, okay, this is the way we're going to get your life back on track. We're going to take care of all this. Not that we can believe any of that either, but I just love the way that he talked to the police chief, and he just seemed to be, no matter what was happening, he always just seemed to be cool as a fucking cucumber. And I kind of dug that.
Okay, so follow that train. He's doing his due diligence, okay, finding out how did this all occur. And he's giving the details. He's saying basically, I've been following these plates. I've been following this, the counterfeit. So he goes and he does his homework, and there was someone Chinese doing business, selling guns. It leads to Chow, and he's following Chow.
Well, he thinks it might be Chow, and then
it's Lee.
Right, but then
Lee though that tells him to go see Chow, right?
Right, and then he's following Chow. But notice how did you watch his facial expressions too when he was following Chow and Chow gave him the slip?
Oh, and then Chow looked back, so he knew too. So Chow knows something's up.
Yeah,
but also, but mostly
a cop setup though, where a cop will come in and will say something to somebody and be like, "Look, we got you dead to rights, or we think it's you." Blah blah blah. That cop leaves while another cop sits and watches and waits for someone to take off to go tell whoever, listen, that's what they were hoping for, that Chow would lead them to the plates.
Right, but it's the little subtle things when he was following him, and then Chow gave him the slip. So they showed so many scenes of the women dyeing the different fabrics, and their everything is hanging and drying, and it was the little smirk that Mosley gave. It was the facial expression, and what that told me was, okay, Chow, I'm after you. So he knew, like they never saw each other face to face. It's not like he saw Chow and then Chow acknowledged that this guy's following him and gave him the slip. Chow gave him the slip without him really knowing, and then all of a sudden there's that knowledge. There was that look on his face of, yeah, you got me.
Yeah.
He knew, like you could see it. It's a subtle little facial expressions on Mosley. Watch out for those. And same thing with Chow, because what I started to notice, Hunley does a great job with a jaw clench. Watch his jaw clench when he's talking to someone, then all of a sudden he goes, you see this like, it's like this, the visual version of like gritting your teeth. You see it pop out. There's something behind it. I'm telling you.
So we end this episode basically with they've got their moneymaker, if you will, now, and they're like, all right, time to get back into the molasses business. And episode 3 opens up with the gang, Assam, Young June, Hong, and Chow, all at Happy Jack's, trying to pass off this fake money as real money.
And they're all sweating.
Oh, they are so. And even Happy Jack is like, Chow, what are you doing here? And Chow's quick though. Yeah, investment. He's quick. Yeah. So what's a big standout for you in episode 3 here, Frank?
A person's a standout, which was the printer girl, the printer girl. I mean, she just continues to get more time, and she's getting more time. It's very obvious they're alluding to they're foreshadowing her relationship with the son, right? That's already in the trailer, and this is we're just seeing the hints of what we know is going to happen there. And then at the end of the episode 3, we see what she has in her hairpin. So she's ready to play a dangerous game. Right? What's going to happen to her? The Assam's woman last season was playing a dangerous game, and she paid for it. It's the same thing going to happen to her. Will she escape? Will she become another Mai Ling even?
Yeah.
Because she's clearly very smart. She's clearly not afraid. She went to confront gangsters by herself as a woman in the 1870s.
Never knew a pat down could be so sexy, says Derek.
Yeah. When the Psalms was like, yeah, I need a frisky, I was like, oh, you need a frisky. You know what I'm saying? But it's
oh, that scene was hilarious.
Yeah, the first one and the second one.
They did, yeah, the second one too. They got a little closer, like they were gonna make out there.
Yeah,
she's
have fun playing with your wood.
Yo,
what?
What do you do?
Assam's probably not used to people watching him do martial arts and rolling their eyes. Especially since she gave him that speech. So I guess I'll throw in my MVP. It's her, right? She gives him that speech that you came in during that riot in Chinatown like some sort of avenging angel, but a couple months later you're just shaking us down like a couple of regular gangsters.
I love her.
So she's the first one to take him down a peg after even Toy was saying you could be our hero. She's like, no, you're not that. I already see it. I see it from the other side, right? We're the ones you're extorting. We're the ones that you're bullying when you don't get your payment, right? We're just regular shopkeepers.
Yeah. And that's like, you can tell she doesn't trust them at all.
And he says, what she says, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. And she said, you're wearing the same suit.
Yeah. But you can see though that she's starting to soften a bit towards him. Like they have that moment obviously after the second pat down, but just when they were talking, when she's like, what was it? Maybe you made the wrong choice or something like that. Or like you can still.
You're just not happy with the choice that you made. That's why you're saying there's no choice, right?
While they were watching that show, the puppet
Yeah,
show.
the puppet show. Yeah, which was great. I mean, and then even the dumpling line, and she says that so she can get out with the money, is what I'm thinking, right? Without a pat down, not expecting a Sam to come with her to follow her out, and they're like, "Oh, I better come with you so I can see where it's going, where to get these great dumplings." But
It's like this. It tastes like someone on a farm would like this. I grew up on a farm.
and she's
Small
not even
farm.
an apology. She just thought, like, "No, it makes sense."
Small farms.
Yeah. Farm lovers of the world.
And then he picks it up anyway and then starts eating it.
Yeah.
If you're not going to eat it, I'm not me. I'm a hungry
But we're
bastard.
starting to see some cracks though as well. Like we've seen it for a while, but now like Assam's really starting to question Young June, and also now Chow's even starting to do it. And let's be honest. I mean,
Make it
Young
rain.
June, yeah, he's making it rain with the fake money, with the fake chop. I mean, I understand what he's saying about laundering it, but you don't launder money in your own shit. You go to you bring that into the white, you give that money to Mai Ling to spend on her white friends in that part of town, and no, but that's how money laundering works. You don't money launder in your own. Well, I mean, you do. Never mind. I don't know any of this.
I was with him with Young June. I think his intentions are pretty pure. It's just the way that he goes about it is kind of reckless, and that's why
And he's the hothead.
you can't. I get where he's trying to do and what he thinks is, from his perspective, doing the right thing and doing what's best for the Tong and what they're trying to accomplish, but it is done very recklessly, and for us being the audience, we can kind of see it clear as day. Through the eyes of Assam, he understands like that's not how this shit works.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course Hong's just like, I got a fucking pipe. Can you believe it? When did you start smoking? It says right fucking now.
Right fucking now.
Right. And good on
that.
Hong finally getting some time, because I feel
Get some sticky.
Yes, sticky.
He got some sticky, all right. Dead ass. But
Wait. That was probably poor choice of words there.
I don't care. So, anyways, well, no, but it's good that we get to see Hong finally get some shine a little bit, because for these couple episodes, he's been there and he's had his little quip one-liners here and there. And of course he had his little shine in the beginning in the fight where he was taking out a few of the Long Z members, of course, with his chain and just completely decapitating, breaking somebody's neck, all in all. But for the most part, Chen's character has been pretty
comedic relief.
He's been kind of in the back for a little bit, and it was really nice to see his character and Telly and get them introduced, and then kind of get a little background on both their characters on after the sticky is happening, so
Hello, talk.
It was cool. It was cool to see all that kind of unwrap there for a bit, and then laugh their asses off as they go for round 2 and bust the shit.
Man, and there's so much we got to see in this episode as well. Lee starting to take on the Secret Service role, and the two of them going after Chow, like we had mentioned.
Bill,
his
poor Bill, like the look on his face when Lee and Mosley are there in front of them.
Yeah, I mean. He's become the sad sack, and I love Kieran, but I mean Bill, and I feel bad for him, but he brought it all on himself. I just feel like it's his lot in life now. He's, no matter what he tries to do now, he's going to be Sisyphus, just destined to try to keep pushing that boulder up the hill just for it to keep rolling back down on him.
When you started pronouncing that word, I wasn't sure how it was going to end up. But yeah, that makes sense now.
Yeah. You thought it was called Sissy Pants?
I'm just glad it ended up the way it did. I wasn't sure where that was going, but this makes a lot more sense.
Greek mythology. Come on now. We all
That's
know
right.
our Greek mythology. Little Sisyphus. Right, Matt?
No, I'm gonna be completely honest. No, don't know what you're talking about.
Frank will tell you later.
Yeah,
Frank
That's
knows
fine.
the story.
he's got to push a rock up, and the rock rolls back down. He's got to push a
That was
rock
his
up.
punishment. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
punishment
Zeus punished
by
him. for
Zeus actually. So
Yeah.
Oh, damn, Zeus! Look what you did. You're an asshole.
Listen, you know that most things that Zeus punished people for was for being unhospitable, because people don't realize that one of the things that Zeus was the god of was the god of hospitality. So if you were a family and someone came to your house looking for, like, refuge or anything like that, and you turned them away, or you weren't nice hosts, Zeus fucked you up. Which is weird because he'd also probably sleep with your wife.
that's why he wants the hospitality.
Exactly. He puts the hoe in hospitality. Anyways, you're welcome. You're welcome. We'll be here all week. And back to the Warriors show, if you will. Matt's just over there shaking his head without shaking his head. I love it. I've never seen somebody shake their head just with their eyes.
I am an actor.
All right. So Matt, who you got? Who's your MVP of episode 3 here?
So it was a tie. It was a tie. It was hard, right? So the obvious choice was Chelsea, right? Because of how she was able to, again, there's always, I don't know if anybody else has caught this, but there has been a focal character throughout each episode that more or less is there.
Okay, cool. I thought that was just me. I thought that was just me, and I'm like, oh my god, my internet just went out, but it was Matt, because all of us kept going except for Matt. Sorry,
What
Matt,
happened?
you froze up, buddy.
You froze.
Yeah, you
Oh.
the last 15 seconds. We couldn't hear what you said.
What was I saying? What was the last thing that didn't happen?
Something about Chelsea.
Yeah.
So what I was saying is that I don't know if anybody caught this, but these first 3 episodes, right? There's always been a focal character that somebody's been kind of centered around or is kind of featured more on, and it seems to be their particular story, and seems to be Chelsea's character, who was the one that actually was the one. And of course, with the icing on the cake was at the very end, where she's you think that she enjoyed the time with the Sam. She lets her hair down and almost kind of wants to reflect on how everything went and thinks, well, you know what, maybe he's not so much of a bad guy, only to then unveil that she's actually been taking some of the money too. So it was a cool thing, because now it's another layer to her character that we don't now. Okay, she's not doing it. You know what I mean? Like she's being a little sneaky. And then coming in real quick was a real cool MVP, and that was good old Jenny. Fucking lie. Holy shit.
I was screaming.
When she came out from the bush or from the fields to save Davenport and crescent hooked that dude.
And that's where my wife promptly left the room.
Oh yeah.
She was all good to watch the show with me until that happens. It'll be like a good conversation. All of a sudden, someone lost a hand.
With the minute Olivia said to Jenny, "Fields, go to the fields," she fucking picks up the 2 hooks, books it, and then just starts ripping everyone apart without any mercy, no care in the world. And then she goes in, and then of course, and here's what's cool about this whole thing. Number one, Douglas Strickland, right? This motherfucker is cold-blooded, I tell you, right? But he sends his people out to go and burn Davenport's entire vineyard. And number one, that there's something about this show that when they make these brutal scenes and they really want to kind of get your feels out, They do it. And my God, the way that they just set the shit on fire and they were just beating the shit out of these women, I just couldn't help but feel like, are you fucking kidding me? I couldn't help but feel away on my fucking couch watching this. And I wanted to, it's like, I know it's fake. And I know I can't literally jump through the TV and save you, but it was that immediate reaction that I felt as I was watching this. It was just fucking helplessness. And I was pissed, right? But getting back to Jenny's MVP moments and shit. And then you have Olivia who's trying her best, and you still see the vulnerability that she has, and she hasn't fully recovered from everything that's happened with her in season 2. And because she was still being, pretty mobile and everything, but not to the extent that we're used to seeing her. And she was having trouble. And we thought it was the end of her. And then here she fucking comes through the fire and hay and starts slicing everybody.
Oh my God.
And
looking like the Grim Reaper coming out there with her sickle.
She killed that in what seemed like forever, but probably was only 3 minutes. But yeah.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, then the pan up.
Because that
all the burn around them.
That killed me. But yeah, those are the
Jenny,
two MVPs
lie
right there.
Lie.
So there you go, folks. That's how the episode ended. Was what's his name? Strickland?
Douglas Strickland, yes.
Douglas
Played
Strickland.
by Adam. I'm sorry, people. I can't do names.
He's got. Who's the big dude?
You look very familiar. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like I should know who that is.
Cracking the whip. And
I don't know.
And he took the sickle right to the forearm and just
right,
like it was nothing.
It's like an odd job.
Yeah, Douglas Strickland. That character seems the one who I don't for all everybody out there who's trying to keep tabs on who's who. He's the one that has the railroad contract and trying to build through Nellie Davenport's vineyard and proceeds to go and do that. And of course, this scene, for those who are watching or on YouTube, this scene in particular kind of shows how malicious and evil this guy is, because as he's able to convince Leary to kind of fall back on who he's trying to help and help him. Yeah. This man's a mastermind. And I got to say this, with all 3 episodes out of the way, and in terms of kind of summarizing it, these quote unquote big bads, because I can't figure out who's the big bad yet, they kind of make like Buckley and Leary, and they make some of these guys
not look as
they're JV now.
Yeah. It's wild that in these 3 episodes you introduce these characters that seem really threatening to the cast that we grew up on, right? Because you had Leary, who seemed to be a pretty looming, presence over just the Hopway and just everybody in Chinatown in general. And then you have Buckley, who, not so much a threat for Long Z and Mai Ling and all them, but to kind of just everywhere in Chinatown as well. Yeah. And now you have you got everybody that they introduced this season.
Follow the money. Follow the money.
My God, this is awful, because now I have the Secret Service agent right now who is already Hopway and Chow. I feel completely worried for. I got this asshole him. I got the chief here just being a dick to everybody in Chinatown, and God only knows who else he runs into. You got that problem. You have Lee, who's probably going to indirectly be a problem to everybody else. So, as much of as a good guy he was in seasons 1 and 2, he's going to be that, I don't know, he's going to almost be that ace factor to the wrong side. I'm sure he'll realize it sooner or later. And then, of course, you got this Douglas Strickland guy who doesn't give a fuck. And
he just cares about getting that railway, right?
So there's one other relating to Strickland. Did you notice when Davenport was talking to Atoy about him and saying, well, he had a thing for me too, and he was sour because he got turned down. But
Mhm.
at the end of that little scene, there was a look from Atoy. She's concerned. Like there was an extra little look of like concern. Like this is going to be a thing before, the fire broke out. So
Yeah.
she knows. She's like, okay, this is bad news. This is bad news.
Well, it was bad news.
Mm.
As we saw, the episode ends with Atoy and Davenport chasing off the bad guys, if you really want to call it that. But that was what a way to end that third episode. And man, now what? Now what?
I've been on an emotional roller coaster for the last couple of days. Every day. I'm like, okay, I have to go back and watch. Oh, let's rewind. Oh,
All right, I'm
so
going to give
triggered.
each of you give me one takeaway from the first 3 episodes and how you're feeling about it coming back. Steph, we'll start with you, and we'll work our way around.
See, here's a where some of my thought process goes through. I really like seeing Chelsea, okay, because I think this is going to address some of the conversations about the topic of Chinese women even being able to come to this country, right? So how many could actually come to this country? We don't really get a chance to talk to a lot of others that don't hold power, like Atoy and Mai Ling. So having her come into play, I think we're going to see a different everyday life. But she's no schlub. Look she's already, she found her little sneaky way to look out for her family. That's it. She's what Matt said. She's MVP for me. But seeing the change in power for each, in each little faction is very interesting. Very interesting.
Nice.
And also to go back, I mean, really relating to Chelsea is in the warrior group, someone made a comment and they said something about Penny, right? About, well, where is she? I miss her. It's like, okay, you do know what happened to her. She got a lot, she's in an asylum.
Yeah.
But I hate to say it, people. I hate to say it, but yeah, can we get away from always it being the white woman as the love interest? Sorry. There's a portion of I would like to see the Asian love interest, you know what I mean, for that main character. And so there's a little bit of I'm sorry, I'm relieved for her to be Asian. Let's focus on it, okay? Sorry, that's an absolute fact. That's what was going through my mind when I saw that comment. I said,
Well,
yes, we understand that we like her, or like that part she filled, strong businesswoman. But there's a
His
but.
first 2 girlfriends on the show have been a white woman and a Mexican woman.
Yeah, see, can we have an deeper love interest with an Asian woman?
The way I look at it as the non-Asian on the cast here, I'm happy to see that Assam is all about love being love in that scene.
Yes.
Frank, what was your takeaway from the first 3 episodes, bud?
We spoke about it a little earlier before the show. To quote one of my favorite actors in Training Day, "Oh, you're federally fucked now." The people on the national level are coming in, and not just people on the national level in terms of the government, but people who move across states. Yeah, so the police chief, he's from New York, right? And it's funny how he has that funny little line that just shows the prejudice of the thought process. Oh, Chinese are Chinese everywhere, right? And but even he becomes knocked down a peg almost immediately, right? You got Mosley, you have Lee now being promoted, so he's also in that federal realm. You got what's the name? Strickland.
Yeah.
Strickland, yeah. So he's building a railroad across the western half of the USA, right? So who knows what kind of influence he's got? Like he said, he never travels alone. What does that really mean? And now you have this have Chelsea coming in playing essentially a powerless girl. You're bringing in a printer's daughter in Chinatown in the 1870s, and you're mixing her in with these big guns, for lack of a better term. Like, how is she going to survive, or will she? Right. So those are some of my thoughts right now going forward. Right. I'm looking.
There's a lot of dynamics going on.
A lot of waiting between now and Thursday. Yeah.
And JT is always juggling the stories and the characters, and it always ends up working out. And I have no idea how he does it. Matt, what do you got, buddy?
I'm afraid.
Whoops. Sorry.
Oh, what happened? We doing?
We
Okay.
don't all look alike, Zeus.
Yeah, I wasn't saying.
That's what Belinda Walk does. I'm afraid if anything that these 3 episodes have shown me is that I don't think anybody's safe as opposed to the last couple seasons.
Yeah.
And I don't. I was talking to Drea about it after we finished watching episode 3. I don't like it. I don't like the feeling of. I don't know. There's this loom of doom amongst that entire cast that
It's got that Game of Thrones feel.
I don't like it.
Where you're like, which one of these guys am I going to lose? Which one of my favorites am I going to lose?
I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm sure it's going to really set up for a great season to come. And I think that's what's really enticing about it is that like I'm probably going to be watching every single episode at the edge of my seat because because I've been so invested with every fucking character because they're written so well. And it went one way with me because as a fan, I was watching it for what it was. And I was like, holy shit, like this is amazing from the way that from top to bottom, how this show is conducted. Then, being on the show here and how we do more deep dives and the thought process of things and how we're able to kind of get everybody's perspectives on how the show is and what we think of it, all 5 different eyes on the same show, it more time with the cast, like, and the characters like that as well, because we're talking about it. So because it's gone a lot of years where they've been in front of my face and now they're on the tip of our tongues all the time, because I'm so emotionally invested and, we've got to meet all these guys. A majority of the cast has come onto our show as well and talk about it. Mm-hmm. I am very nervous about the rest of this season. And I like it, but I don't like it. And I'm scared.
I've got a few things. I'm with you there. I think, but I think the people we're going to lose, one of the first people I think we're going to lose is going to be Hong's boyfriend. I think Hong's not going to be happy. I think we're going to lose him for sure.
Do you think they're going to get?
Yeah, I do.
He just doesn't seem important yet. Maybe he's just there to kind of tell a story. The way Vega was there,
But Hong's such a happy character, and he's always so full of life. And I think they're going to really play up this relationship. And then I think either Hong's lover is, working for the Long Z somehow, or he's gonna die, and it's gonna make Hong go right off the deep end and get really dark and depressed. And I think we'll see a lot of mental health stuff coming that way. Yeah, man.
I don't know, but this whole just to add, a little bit more. I'm just going off of pure emotion because I am definitely the emotional chick, right? These 3 had me more emotional. Okay, so it wasn't really we got all the animals coming in. It was more of the other, like the group scenes. Like, for example, you're seeing, the fire scene where there are women on fire, or when they did raid and the new, chief of police is being more brutal. And I really think that the emotional portion was taken up a notch, in some of those scenes. We have different dynamic scenes, right? The fight scenes are a whole other story because we're glued to it. We're like, oh shit, what was that move? And I'm rewinding. I'm like, oh shit, he just did that. What was that? That's me. I'm staring. I'm like, okay, rewind. I have to see that again. But some of those other scenes pulled out serious emotion. Like there was a whole other level for me that it hit as far as the history and the treatment. It made me emotional.
Yep.
I don't think it happened as fast as that in the other seasons. Do you know what I mean? These got me, and it was fast, and it
Well,
was
we're more
more like,
invested now too. We
yeah,
know these
but
characters more. So, yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. And
but see, it wasn't even with the specific characters. It was like the entire set and how they really, filmed each one. It really pulled at the emotions.
oh, for sure.
Definitely.
All right. Well, that is basically the review of the first 3 episodes. And
We are sorry if we missed anything because
yeah, there's
that was a
so
lot.
There's
Yeah.
so
There was
much
a lot.
and next week we'll have a more thorough one of the entire episode, because it'll just be one next week.
Mhm.
There's before we do go, I do want to ask you guys, because the whole whose side are you on and who do you trust and everything. I got to ask you guys personally, though, honestly, who do you guys think is the Skrull?
This is a whole different show.
Oh, it's a wrong show. Wrong show. Oh, my bad. Samuel L. Jackson isn't in this
Strange
one.
New Worlds.
Oh shit.
Wait, Strange New Worlds, right?
No.
No.
Secret Invasion.
Oh.
That's okay. I'm just fucking with you guys. Yeah, that's what we do here.
One more. I have one more little tidbit.
Oh, you were not allowed one more. You said one more last time.
No, okay.
You were
one
on
more.
2 more now. Okay.
One more. Why was I screaming? Well, let's bring this down to I know. Wait,
That
shut
was
up.
random.
That never
You were
happened.
screaming?
Shut up. Never. I keep rewinding because what did we do last year? Rebecca and I went to Cape Town. So here I am watching these, and I am now rewinding and seeing my new friends. Okay. So to see the Chinese folks that were extras, okay, 10 seconds into the first scene, okay, I see Linton, someone we met there, okay, and then I see, there are siblings and cousins, and I saw pretty much, I think I saw all of them. So these are people who hosted us, who just treated us just like family, and seeing them multiple times as extras in certain scenes, I just keep rewinding and seeing people that we know, like that we've met, in these other roles, and they're playing the folks in Chinatown.
We see Scott up there all the time, and a bunch of the guys that we know.
And Simon.
Really, really have to go though.
Yeah.
It's getting late over here.
Oh, it's almost 11. Yeah.
And got to work and got stuff to do in the morning. But we will be back same time next week with all of our fellow itchy onions out there. I know you're all itchy for the next episode, and I am indeed as well. That was a sentence. I'm not sure.
No, you're good.
It was indeed as well.
Please also remember, check out the YouTube, like and subscribe at the Hop This Way Show. Follow us everywhere on social media. It is the Hop This Way Show. It's not that hard. It's across all things. And of course, if you are unable to watch the show as is in its entirety, don't worry. We got you covered on podcast form, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Again, search there, the Hop This Way Show. Not too hard. And then you're all good. So that's it. Shameless plugs all around.
Shameless plugs all around. I love it. Oh, wait. Oh, look at that. Those two are kissing. It's just, Matt, this is your thing. How are you not ready? This is your thing that you made.
Actually, no. Jason did it, and we have now took what Jason did, and we established it at the very end now. So
we need to get that clip again from him so we can play it again.
So Jason telling this story has now been incorporated to the end of our show. And if those who don't know, we literally go from one side, we never get it right the first time, and we go to the other side yelling, let's get cking! And if you want the story on that, we'll do it next time.
Yeah, and maybe we'll put up the video. Maybe we'll start a Patreon. Who knows? Either way, though, I hope everybody had a great time. Warrior is back, ladies and gentlemen. And
live and real time.
Love it. From our tongue to your tongue, we hope you all have a great day. Warriors unite, and we will see you all next week.